Hello, hello, and welcome to Airica on Air. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, and come chat with me. I'm so excited about my guest I have today. This is my favorite person in the entire world in the studio with me today. I have my good-looking husband here with me. I'm so excited to have him in here, and I've got lots of episodes, actually, different things I want to talk to you guys about that I want him to guest for, different things y'all have requested. But for today, we're just going to start out from the beginning, babe. How we met one another. You know, I was trying to think of like the first time, my first memory of ever seeing you. We're both from the same small town. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time. Our little bitty town. We both grew up there, but he's 2 years older than me, so we were not.
I remember being at things with you when I was young, at get-togethers and stuff, but not really meeting and
Not
getting
talking.
to know each other. Yeah.
No, you know how you are. You're like too shy to even say hi to
When you're
someone.
young, you're 2 years apart. That's a pretty big difference, you know.
I always
so.
remembered him having a tan. He's always had a tan. He always had this dark tan and this bright white smile, which he ended up being a dentist, so that kind of made sense. But he had this just big smile, drove a little red truck with the Salty Dog sticker in the back window, and usually had a Sea-Doo. We're dating ourselves, babe. We're talking about the 90s here. A Sea-Doo hooked to the back of it. And I worked at our family business, which was a boutique in town. He worked at his family business, which was a furniture store in town, but he would drive, you know, back and forth on his lunch break and stuff, and it would come across the boutique. I'd see through the window. I was always keeping my eye out for that red truck.
I remember seeing you one time when we were younger. It was at the next door restaurant. It was a nicer restaurant. A lot of people go there after church. And I came in one Sunday, and I was with my family, and I walked past your table, and you had this white dress on, and I thought, she is adorable. She is so cute.
Had to have been like what? I was probably in 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder what she's going to be doing. I'm going to have to keep my eye on her.
So first time I ever heard that he liked me at all, my uncle that I've had on the podcast before, he was also a high school football coach, and he had a big pond on his property, and all of the football players and baseball players would go hang out there and go frog gigging again. This is the small town entertainment I'm so proud of. I love our little town. And so they would go frog gigging, and my brother and my cousin would go also and hang out with these older boys. And they came home and said, LG said he's going to marry you. And I said, who? What? You know, I was like just hanging on to every bit of information they were going to give me. And they said that he had dropped his wallet and everything fell out. And this is back when if you had somebody's picture, you had a picture from school. That was basically, you had your picture taken at school and you bought the wallet size. If your parents really loved you and let you
That
get
was
the
the
big
Snapchat
package.
of that time. That meant, yeah,
That's
you were
exactly
talking
right.
or something.
And so if you gave someone one of your pictures, you know, they were close to you. It was your boyfriend or your best friends. At that age, usually you just gave them to the girls and your parents. That was about it. But he happened to have a picture of me. I'm still not really sure how you got
I
that.
don't remember how I got it. I stole it off somebody.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got it out of their wallet or something.
I mean, for those of you
I
like
was
my
like,
kids, that they don't even know what that is.
that's
They're
my
like
picture.
pictures. It's like a baseball card. Pictures we would get to go in the wallet. But anyways, he dropped his wallet, and my brother and cousin saw my picture laying there, and they're like, "What are you doing with Erica's picture?" And he said, "I'm going to marry that girl one day." Or so the story is. They tell me. Is that how it went?
Yeah, pretty much it was.
And so they come home and tell me, and I'm like, "Huh? Well, maybe he is."
Well, I started hanging out with those guys because I thought, hey, that's closer, but I love them. They're like brothers to me. They always have been. Us three. So,
I was younger,
yeah. She
2
was
years
younger than
younger.
me, a couple of years younger than me,
and
which I didn't care. I mean, I was,
oh, I definitely didn't care. That was cool. He was driving around in that little red truck. I mean, I was all about it. But we were spending summers at the city baseball park, which again is a small town thing that I just adore. If you grow up in a small town, you know what that means. You hang out at your city park and you see other friends and family members there, and that's where you do a lot of your growing up, honestly. And
we didn't have a lot of other sports back then either. We didn't have soccer. We didn't have,
our town didn't have much.
we didn't have wrestling. We didn't have, baseball, football, basketball is all you had. So you
That's
had your
true.
seasons, and people didn't play summer league either, like they do today.
Right,
It
we didn't
wasn't a
have travel
continuous
leagues.
thing. So you played when that season ended, you played the next one, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
That's what we did during our free time. So.
And something else, you didn't know people from other counties really because you didn't have social media to get to know them. I mean, you just kind of knew your area, your schools, your town. And so there was a game I was there watching my cousin play, and he came to sit beside of me, and I had on penny loafers. And this is one of my memories. It's always going to be etched in my mind. I had penny loafers on, and I had them all shined up, which, y'all, I still love me some penny loafers. I think they're just a good old classic. But I like to get dressed up. I know that's going to surprise so many of you to go to the baseball field. And I had on some shorts and sitting there watching the game, and he walked up and sat down in the bleacher in front of me, just over from my shoes. I had my feet up on the bleacher. And he was trying to carry on a conversation, and he said,
probably not very good. You can tell by the podcast I'm not real great at it to this day.
Hey, it worked for me. Still does. And so he said, where's your pennies? And I was like, I don't know. I did have on those penny loafers, but they didn't have any pennies in them. And he said, you have to have pennies in your penny loafers. And so he went in just a little while to the concessions, which I thought was to get something to eat, and came back with a ton of pennies. I think he got all the pennies they had. He traded in his coins and came back, and he was going through all the pennies on the bleachers to find the shiniest ones to put in my shoes. I wish I had those shoes. I feel like I kept everything in life. I wish I still had those.
It sounds so corny now. Like that's all I had right there. That was my intro.
It worked.
I'm glad it did.
I love shoes then. I still do. I think you're still buying me shoes today. So
all the time. I love you and some shoes.
So it worked. It worked for us. So that was how we first started talking. Just at the baseball field, and that was kind of it. Yeah. And I think how did you eventually ask me out?
My cousin Lee called and said, "Hey, I've got some news. I want you to know that Airica's doesn't have a boyfriend anymore. They broke up. So I heard that you might want to call her." And I was like, "Okay. Do you have her number?" Because we didn't. We had to get a phone book or,
Yeah, landline's all it was then.
Yeah. And so I said, "Okay, give me her number." And she gave it to me. And I kind of sat there for a few minutes and kind of just thought about some things I could talk about. And so I called. Yeah.
It was that quick because at the same time, his cousin Lee had told my mom, and Mom said, "Now listen, I think that LG Puckett is going to be calling you." And I said, "About what?" And she said, I mean, just to talk, I'm sure. And I said, "What if he asked me out?" And she said, "He's not going to ask you out. It's the first time he's calling you. He's just going to call to talk." And I was like, okay. So he calls. Someone else answers the phone at our house. For you kids listening to this, if, everyone could answer and listen in on your conversations back then. And they holler, "Airica, it's for you." And so I go to my room and I grab my phone and jump on the bed, just, nervous wreck that I know who's going to be on the other end. And we don't really know each other that well, just small talk's all it had been. And so he said, "Hey, this is LG." And I said, "Well, hello, LG." And he said, "I was just wondering if you'd like to go out." That quick. He had thought a lot about what all we could talk about.
I had a lot of stuff on my mind that I could talk about, but then it just kind of went out the window.
So I said,
it's kind of how I do. I get nervous and it just comes out.
So I said, "Go out?" And he said, "Yeah, I was just wondering." And I said, "Well, you don't want to go out with me. I mean, you're 16, you can drive. I cannot even ride with you till I'm 16. I can't ride with you for 2 more years." And you said, "That's okay, I'll wait." And I said, "Okay, well, how about, will you be at the middle school game this Thursday night?" And he said, "I can be. I'll be there at practice. I'll just stay." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be cheering. I'll talk to you after the game." And so I knew what I was going to say, but I couldn't say yes.
So she put me off.
Asked me,
basically.
I mean, obviously I was going to be like,
said,
"Yes."
"I'll let you know then."
So after the game was over, I met him at the light pole at our high school football stadium, and he said, "So have you got the answer to that question?" And I said, "Yeah, my answer is yes." And the cutest part of it is he walked me to the car, to my mom's car. He had his sister with him. His sister was 5 years younger, and he has a brother that was 8 years younger. So he was about John Cruz's age now. I feel like I've watched them grow up completely, which is really cool in itself. So my 14-year-old, he walked me to the car. The next day I'm going 8th grade. He's in high school, at a different school. And I have a delivery at the school, and they call me to the office that I had a delivery up there, and I go to get it, and it's a gift bag, and it has a shirt in it, and it's a football T-shirt, a high school football T-shirt, and it has his number on it. And I come back to the class, and I was like, wow. I mean, it hadn't even been 24 hours, and I thought it was really cool. But his mom is who did it. His mother.
My mom was just so happy that I had a girlfriend.
It was so sweet. This is so something I would do. And so his mother had me a shirt made to wear to the ball game that night with his number on it. And I loved that shirt. I slept in it and everything. I thought it was awesome.
Had it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know that that's a good idea, Mom. I mean, it's not even been 24 hours. So she did it anyway. She was so happy I had a girlfriend. She was pretty and sweet, and so.
And backstory on that,
kind of jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah, his mother was my third grade teacher. I loved Miss Puckett. I played Miss Puckett growing up. I would want my nails to look like Miss Puckett, and I would roll the chalk like Miss Puckett, and I literally played like I was Miss Puckett.
She would tap her nails.
She tapped her nails on the chalkboard and on the
trouble.
desk.
That's what I would hear with that tapping. That's when I knew she was thinking about how to deal with me.
Yeah, I loved her.
You kind of do that too sometimes.
Do I? Tap?
Yeah.
You say I usually start singing.
Yeah, if you're mad about something, I can hear those nails start doing that right there, and I'm like, oh, I'm across the line somewhere.
Sometimes I'll be like just humming and singing, and he'll be like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'll be like, "What do you mean? Nothing's wrong with me." He goes, "Yeah, you do that when you're mad. There's something wrong with you." I can
pick up on it. My radar. I can just feel the air change.
Sometimes that air is not moving. You just think it is.
No,
it's not,
I'm pretty spot on most of the time.
No.
It just takes a little bit to get it out of you.
So that is when we first started dating. Mm-hmm. I was 14. He was 16, and
drove out to your house all the time.
Yes.
You'd come to my house.
So we would just hang out together. Yes. And if we went somewhere, I could not even ride with him. My parents were very, very strict. I said as an 8th grader, I said all of my life growing up, my parents are so strict. Now I like to use the word conservative because I'm very thankful. I feel like they kept me out of a lot of trouble.
In a lot of things we couldn't do, I totally agree with now. The only thing was the calling. It made it so difficult for me to get a hold of you most of the time.
So my parents had a rule that girls do not call boys. If a boy wants to talk to you, they'll call you, and girls do not. They don't take that role on. The boy makes the first move. And, that's a traditional thing that I really think went by the wayside. I think girls
the first move, but
now.
we were dating. I mean, we'd been boyfriend and girlfriend for years.
I was never allowed to call him.
Before you could call me. And so I would have to call and leave a voicemail. And then, or catch you at home and then wait for you to get home. Well, I might not be home then. And so it was just a coordinated mess. It was so difficult. And it would frustrate me so much.
But the days of like love notes and stuff, because guys, we didn't have text. We didn't have all that stuff y'all have. We didn't have email. You passed love notes. It was great. When I talk to people and they talk about like the olden days, my grandparents' generation, there's so much from their generation. I'm like, man, those were the good days. I wish we could have had some of the more simple times like them. And I think that is some of the things I embrace about growing up in the 90s. I loved it. I loved the whole love note part.
Well, now you know where everybody is all at one time, like Snapchat. You can follow them on their GPS. And I think that's creepy.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I would have totally been stalking you.
I would have too. I can imagine if I'd had FaceTime when you were away at college. I mean, we had to wait to see each other on the weekend, you know?
That would have been dangerous.
We just got to hear each other's voice.
I'm just really glad. Yeah.
That was it. Voice was all.
But we got to call each other. You could call me and I could call you. So it was good.
So our love story is different for sure. It's very unique. People like to tell me that I don't understand how unique it is. And I do. I really appreciate it. We did break up once. I broke up with him because he was just girls are just stupid. They just are when they're young and they're changing. And my daughter's the age, she's 13 and a half. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, I was just a few months older than you when I met your dad.
She reminds me so much of you.
And I tell her, I'm like, we are very confused at this age. Just know that, because I was, and your dad was. You were always so much more mature than I was. Our whole life you have been. I don't know
if I was more mature. I think girls are more mature than boys at that age, but I just knew what I wanted, and I wanted you.
You
And
were
I was,
you were mature. You had a job. You knew what you wanted in life, and you were set out on a
yeah,
path.
I
And
guess, but I'm still a guy. So
you were very confident in yourself. You didn't
I'll
go
let
with
you
the
know when
crowd.
I'm mature.
Okay. Okay. But I tell my daughter that all the time. I'm like, I broke up with your dad because he was too nice. Who does that? That doesn't even sound right. It sounds completely insane. But he would send me flowers on the 6th of every month because I said I started dating October the 6th, 1994 is when he asked me to be his girlfriend. And so from then on, I got a dozen roses on the 6th. And I thought, this is just a little weird. I mean, my other friends were like chasing guys and fighting for their attention. And he was right there all the time. And
Gave you
so
too much attention.
I guess that's how stupid I was. And so then when I didn't have him for about 3 or 4 months, the thought of someone else getting him, I thought, you know what, I better hang on to this. But the funny part about all of it is I've always talked about how close my family is. And we have Monday night dinners at my grandparents' my whole life, which is literally what built me. It constructed me. Monday nights around a family table is literally a core part of my life. And they invited him every Monday night. My grandparents loved LG from day one. They loved
I
him.
love them. Right.
And so when we broke up, they were all so mad at me. His family was mad
Your
at
granny
me.
was really mad.
My family was mad at me. And my parents said when we first started dating, they loved him. And they said, this one's too good to have too young. It won't last. That's what they would say. They didn't want us to date then. They wanted us to wait. And so when I would not be there for Monday night dinner or I was away at cheer camp,
I would get invited.
they would have him over. They would have him come when I wasn't there, almost like they were hoping I couldn't make it. So
Well, I still loved Matt and Brandon, that we were still friends, and I still loved your family.
which was like my brother and cousin.
My
He was
granny
my
would
brother.
listen to me. My granny, your granny would always tell me, "I'm still working on her. You just be patient."
And so
She had my back.
They love them some LG. That is for sure. That's a big part of it. That's huge. They did. And so when he went off to college, I was still in high school. And so many people fear that, young couples that are listening to this. But if you're meant to be together, it works out. It was actually a blessing for us looking back because you got to live the college life with your friends there. I was in high school. I spent more time with the girls than I probably would have in the cheer squad. And it worked for us. It just made us look forward to the weekends. And I remember, this is something else that's always stuck with me, because he would come back every weekend.
Except for finals or weekend or something like that. I wouldn't be able to come back.
And he would always make it a special date. We had a date night on that Friday or Saturday night, generally Saturday night because I was a cheerleader. So I usually was cheering for high school on Friday nights. And he made it special. Like, we looked forward to that date all week long. And that's something I feel like today kids just jump in the car and go somewhere and they don't realize they're even on a date. It's just they hang out and they don't make it like a special dating event.
They don't get dressed up. They don't try to look their best.
Yeah, and so
And sometimes that's okay, but you need to make it special.
You do.
I love it when you get dressed up. Still make me a little nervous.
I tell him he still gives me butterflies. That's what it's about, guys. And so my mom would say, "So what are you going to wear for your date this weekend?" She'd start like Wednesday or Thursday. "What are you thinking you're going to wear on your date?" And I would say, I don't know. And I remember one time saying, probably what I'm going to wear to school that day. And she said, "Oh, no, you're not. You got to make it special." And she was like, you got to make it special when you have a date. And that has always stuck with me. And I've even said that now that I've got a son old enough to date. It's true. You let that person know how important they are to you. And to this day, I've said this before on podcast, if I'm not dressed and it's time he's going to be getting off and I don't feel like I've got myself together yet, I've been working at my phone or computer all day in my workout clothes or in some just lounge clothes and not got my makeup on, I'm going to be ready by the time he gets home.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be at my best. I want to be at my best when he sees me. I don't really care what anyone else sees, but I want to still mess with him. I gotta show him that. This older lady told me once, she said, you have to always get ready for your husband because you don't know who else did throughout the day. And that's so true for stay-at-home moms. Sometimes we lose ourselves. We just get in the mode of what our workload is and keeping the house in order and our kids in order. But our marriage really comes first. And so that's got to be the top priority that they let go by the wayside. So many times women do. And she said, your husband's off at work and there's other people going to be getting ready for them. So you make sure that you let them know you got ready for them when they get in the evenings. And I've always tried to stick to that.
Always. I can tell when you don't feel good. If I come in and she's still in a robe and like something she would wear, to bed or something. I'm like, what's going on?
That usually means I probably got a wet rag on my head
You're
because I am
sick.
sick.
You're nauseated. You're just something. You got a migraine, something.
A migraine or a virus.
I can tell right off the bat when I walk in.
Because I would even fake it for him to try.
And I always notice. I know.
Yeah, to try getting ready for him. But I think that's really important. I think that's so important in relationships today is that people fail to do that. They get so ready to go out on a girls' night or a guys' night or trip. I mean, why not spend as much time doing the same thing for a date night with your spouse? Who else do you want to look so good for? Yeah. It's just, to me, I don't understand that. I don't know at what point in life that people stop. They're all about the dating, talking about when they're dating, they post things and pictures and everything. And then they're all about their engagement pictures and that phase of life and getting married. And it's like somewhere in there, the first few years of marriage, and especially when they have children, it becomes all about the kids. And they never are talking or trying to share their love for one another.
Well, it's hard. I mean, when you have kids, it's just time. I mean, it just consumes you. But I think we've always done good about staying committed that you're the most important person. The kids know that too. They ask me all the time who my favorite is. They think Anna Berkeley's my favorite. And they think Green's your favorite. And they think John Cruz both our favorites. It doesn't make any sense, Yeah,
we have no favorite.
I tell them every time, Mom's my favorite. She'll always be my favorite.
Same. And it's good for kids to see that. It is good. It's awesome. Our kids know we have a date night every month. They know that. They know our time for each other is really important, that we made that vow to one another long before they came along.
Right.
And we want them to know to have that vow for their spouse also.
And that gets me through a lot, too. If I've got, that one day that I'm looking forward to, that I don't care if it's one night or 2 nights, we'll go out of town. We try to get away. We try to get out of town so that I'm not working on the weekends. Because I'll see patients and stuff if I stay home. And I'll think about that for the coming weeks. I'll be like, okay, just in 2 more weeks, I've got a date night. We're gonna go out, and I get to turn it off and just be the husband, the boyfriend.
And it's nice. I mean, we really do flirt and date.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about what I'm going to wear and get things planned and ready. And he's the same way. He'll make reservations, and that is something I do not take for granted in our marriage. Like it is, we love our date nights. We love to make it special. We get excited about it.
It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to spend a lot of money either. We've spent the night in Sparta a couple,
for those
before, and
that's another small town adjacent to ours. You can do small Airbnbs. You can do. I mean, his dad has a farm. His family does a family farm. You can go do a picnic there. I mean, there is ways to make things special for each other. Hey, just a little text in the middle of the day goes a long way. We do that a lot. We just send each other little reminders throughout the day. And
you can tell when I'm not responding, I'm just covered up.
That means he's having a really stressful day. He needs a text more than ever. Because if he hasn't responded, there's something up. He usually always immediately stays in contact. Yeah. But that is so crucial in marriages, I feel like, for people to just not forget what they've got. It is absolutely pouring outside right now, like really coming down.
You can feel it.
And this
against the wall.
This would be a good day for a nap, babe.
And that's, that goes into another thing. You try to find whatever they love, whatever they're into, and whatever their favorite thing is, and you try to make it happen for them. I think, if you know Airica very well, she loves naps. She is always sleep deprived, and that's her favorite thing. So on date weekends, I've got a nap scheduled in there. I want to be back in the room by at least 4 o'clock so she can get some hours in and a nap, and she sleeps hard when she goes to sleep. She is out, and I'll stay in the room. I'll do paperwork or I'll do something, to keep me busy, and then just let her sleep till dinner time. Be like, what time do you need up to get ready? And it's, always an hour before we have to be there, but that makes me nervous because I'm very time oriented and I have to have it. I have the reservations, and it makes me, probably the one thing that we fight about more than anything is being late, right?
Amen.
Would you agree?
Amen, especially on Sundays.
Oh, I can't. And I try
We just usually drive separate, guys.
I try to turn that off. I can't do it. I can't. I mean, when I make a reservation, we're supposed to be there on time. And I just can't let it go. I'm tense the whole time.
I wish I was more that way. It's something I've
Well, I
really
wish I
worked
wasn't.
at.
I wish we could just kind of even each other out. And we do balance each other out good, but it just consumes me. There's no way you should be late. I got you up even earlier than
Then you
an
tell
hour.
me you need it.
And there's no way we should be late. We work out on Sundays. That's a great example. We get up at 6 and we go work out together. Her and I do. And it's quiet. Most of the time it's just us.
The only people there.
Maybe one other person ever. And it's great. And we listen to our own music, but I'll go by and I'll smack her and just tell her she's doing a good job on the rear. And that's what a husband's supposed to do. And I say, you look great, And then we work out.
Link across the gym.
And we get home at 6.
No,
At 7. We get home at 7, and so we've got 2 hours. I mean, there's no reason to be late. No reason at all. And we live within 2 miles of the church, so it's not a huge drive. But somehow that time gets consumed, that first hour, by coffee and robe and just, soaking in the morning.
And I just get off on, I go start working on a project at the house, and I'm all over the place, guys. I just am.
I'm trying to make sure the kids are up, get John Crew in the shower, get him washed up and ready, because he's just like you. He takes a long time to get started.
I think this is why our marriage works.
You think?
He's responsible and I'm not. Okay, that's just
not at all it.
No, I say that. I
think you're responsible with
respectfully. I mean,
events and things like that. That's your jam. After hours, that's your time. But my work time, church time, that's my time, and I'm very OCD about it. But after that, whatever, we'll do it. But you've got the schedule then, so
it works for us.
Yeah,
it totally does.
Great.
But I lived at home until the day I got married, and so I was very sheltered and taken care of. My dad and mom both took care of me, but I always say, I grew up men's the head of the house, and my dad made sure the car was running, and I'd get up for 5 a.m. workouts I was a college cheerleader, and could have lived at college, but I wanted to stay at home. I knew I hadn't made it home, and so my dad would make sure the car was, the windows were not fogged up and everything was ready for me to go in the mornings and taken care of, and LG just took that role right on. And I mean, I make no bones about it. I tell everybody I've always been taken care of, and
she rarely fills up her car with gas.
I don't demand it, but they have always taken care of me.
No, you don't demand it. I don't do it because I'm afraid you're going to get upset or anything. I just do it because that's my job.
Yeah, they do. They're great. I've always been taken care of, so I can't say I had a rough life in any way, because they've always been so good to me. But I knew what I had. I was going to take care of it, keep it happy. As my granny said, she would always say, Airica, you have to keep them fed. You got to cook for them and keep them fed. Maybe that's why I just love us eating at home so much, babe. I love cooking. He gets so excited sometimes when I know he's having a rough day. I'll send him a text message and I'll be like, tonight for dinner we're having this, this, and this, and I'm going to make some cornbread. And I'll know that'll get him through the last little bit, knowing he gets to come home and rest a little bit. Or
she'll say, you just come in, sit on the couch, relax. I've got all this. So
yep,
that's great.
It works out. It does. We're mindful of each other.
Mm-hmm. We're not selfish. I think that's the key. I think sometimes people get, and I have to watch myself. I start doing that. You start working, you get into life and it gets busy, and you're consumed, and you just kind of do your own thing. You're kind of focused like on LG for a while, and I'm just going to do what I want to do, no matter family time or not. And I think you can't do that. You got to watch yourself. It's easy to fall into that. I have to watch myself. I do that too.
Well, that's the devil. The devil don't want marriages to work.
Right.
I mean, you're in constant. You've got to be in constant mode to always. That's the same thing with friendship, parenting, anything. You've got to always just sit back a little bit and look and say, what do I need to work on? There's something constantly everyone needs to. And I'm the same way. You cannot be selfish. That's just basically what it comes down to for anything. And so we have always said we try to outlove each other. I try to do things for him more than he could do for me, and vice versa. I lose at it. I'm horrible. He's so thoughtful, so thoughtful, especially to be a gentleman. But we try to outlove each other. And if you're constantly trying to outlove the other one, and now I'm not talking about 50-50. There's no 50-50 in it. You give 100. You give 100, they give 100. And I promise you, it's going to work out. You're going to have rough times, you're going to have rough days, but man, it'll be worth it if you're both giving that much.
It's not a struggle. It's not.
Right.
You know, people talk about their marriage. Oh, it was work, but we made it. Well, that sounds horrible. That's not how it should be. That sounds like it was a football game, and you know.
They lost.
I mean, we got beat up, and it was terrible, and I'm injured, but you know what? We made it, and we won. That's not a marriage.
No, it's not a marriage. And I do think, too, something, I'm saying this as I'm looking over there at him because I just think he is so good looking. I tell him all the time he just gets better every year. I think you have to work on yourself. I mean, not just your attitude, like we're talking about not being selfish. I want to look my best for him. And I think a lot of times that's where marriages fail, too, is because one or both partners quit caring. They quit caring about what they look like for the other one or trying to please the other one. If I know his favorite color, I'm going to try wearing it. If I know his favorite workout clothes, you can bet I'm going to try wearing it.
Now, listen.
I know where this is going.
I buy the workout clothes.
He does. I told y'all he's thoughtful. With that, it'll just come in the mail.
So you don't really have a choice because that's the only workout clothes you've got. It's what I picked out.
Yeah, so. He does. He does.
Yeah.
He's thoughtful. I try telling him, though, I'm like, babe, just because it pops up on TikTok and it looks like that on the model does not mean it's going to look like that on me.
I've got my own model. I'm dressing my own model. I don't care about the models on there.
Well, I'll wear it. He knows that. So.
I know.
But I'm just saying, just being, taking care. He does. He cares what he looks like. He keeps himself groomed.
Oh, I'm at a
He's
disadvantage when it comes to this because women, like, you're in your early 40s and you're just in your prime. And I'm on the downhill slope.
So I feel like that about guys. I'm like, I love some gray hair. He knows that. I've told him that since high school.
I'm glad.
I'm like, babe, I can't wait till we got some salt and pepper hair. So.
Well, you're there. I'm there. I think it's easier for girls. They look better. You're more confident. You don't care as much about whatever the people think. And that shows when you got that confidence.
That is the good thing about getting older. It really is. But for ladies, 30s and then again in 40s, I don't know if I could change much more in my 50s. But
no, if you look better in your 50s, I'm not going to be able to.
I'm not going to look better, baby.
I just probably won't make it.
I'm not going to look better, but your confidence is that you don't mind what anyone else thinks. If you like me, I always say if I'm right with the Lord, then that's it. As long as I'm right with the Lord, I've got one audience, and then I want my husband to just be blown away by me. And other than that, I'm going to be just Airica. Anybody else can take it or leave it, basically, is the way I see it. But a good marriage is something, when you got it, hang on to it. Hang on tight. Don't let it slip away. As so many people seem to think that the grass is greener on the other side, and it's not like that. The grass is what you make it. It really is.
Well, I just think you need to realize where you're at. I'm kind of out of my league, and so it's not hard for me to work at it. I've got to work every day for it.
No, not at all. I saw this thing, though, and a lady was being interviewed, and she was talking about her husband had actually left her and the kids, like he'd had an affair, and this was a very public family politician. And this interview just really stuck with me. I was a newlywed when I saw it, so it was years and years ago. And she said that this lady who came in and took her husband basically from her, she said, it's like she just saw this picture of our family and she thought, that looks good. I like that house. I like that dynamic. I like that family. I think I'll just take that lady out and I'll just insert myself in. And that's just always stuck with me. And that is so often how people view things. Don't be that way. It's okay to admire other people, particularly when you're younger. I used to love to look at other relationships that were a lot older and admire and be like, I wonder where I'll be one day. I wonder where we'll live. I wonder how many kids I'll have. And it's great to do that and dream and create it for yourself. Create that family dynamic that you want. Don't try to take it from someone else. That will never work. You're starting off on the wrong foot from the very beginning. It's not the way God created it. Find your person and grow together, which completely takes me back to how you're going to grow together. If you're not in line with your faith, then you're just constantly going to be in a spiral. Do you not think so?
Or find somebody that's as interested in you as you are in that. And that's as important to them as it is you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You don't have to, we didn't agree on everything when we first started dating, but
True.
we were so focused on it, and that was the center of our life. We knew it was going to be important, so we studied together.
Right.
And we found out the answers together. You know,
You're right.
we didn't know what we didn't know, and we didn't, we weren't, super smart about it, but we did. We learned together, didn't we?
We did. And we got married at 20 and 22. As soon as he got his first degree, he graduated with a microbiology and minor in chemistry, and then was applying to dental school. We got married. I just had my pre-recs, my pre-professional recs, and was ready to apply to hygiene
I didn't
school.
get in my first year. I got in the second time I applied.
Yeah, we had a few hiccups because we were already getting married then. And so that first year of marriage was tough. And that's something else I like to tell people. When we were growing up in the 90s, you watch soap operas and everything just looks so perfect and they're just all about each other. And no one talks about, they all in the honeymoon phase. No one talks about that getting adjusted. We never lived together. I never stayed with him one night till we got married. And so there was a lot of adjustment to be had, particularly on my end, because I lived at home till the day I got married. So I'd not had any of these responsibilities. He had already lived out of the home for 4 years. And as I told you earlier, was much more responsible than myself. So I had a lot of growing up to do. And that first year was tough. And I like to tell young girls when I'm teaching a Bible class or talking to young girls, don't be hard on yourself. If that first year is a struggle, don't think you're doomed. I promise you, if your first year was great, it's only uphill from there. You got this. It's just getting to know one another a little bit more. And we dated 6.5 years, but it was just me learning my responsibility of independence, I think, a little bit. I still want to call my mom and dad for everything.
Oh yeah. I remember one time you were sick. I didn't know it. I was outside doing something and your mom pulls up. And I said, "Well, hey, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm checking on Airica. Brought her some medicine. She's sick in the bedroom." And I was like, that's the first I've heard of it. I didn't know.
First year we were married. This is how
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. It's little things like that you just don't think of, but I'd always tell mom if I was sick. I didn't think to tell him that. There was things too I would just still be so embarrassed about, like that first year of marriage, because there's things you just don't think you're supposed to tell them or something. I don't know, but I had a lot of growing up to do. And that's
I did
honestly,
too.
though,
We
I
did it
think
together,
that's
though.
exactly. I think that's what makes it so fun. Looking back, it's like maturing together and just working through things together and communicating together what we like. And to this day, that's how we do it. That doesn't change, guys, as you get older. I mean, our interest changes as we get older. There's different things that we're interested in. I mean, he would never in a million years want to be on a podcast. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. This is not something he was looking forward to, but he knows that this is important to me. And in the same way, I'm that way with him. I mean, I'm learning everything about guns right now because he loves shooting and hanging out at the shooting range. So what do I like to do? I like
You're
to hang
really
out
good
at the
at it.
shooting range too. So
You're naturally better at it than I am.
I'm not.
My little girl is too. I think girls are. They just come by it a little bit easier. They're good. They're good. Yeah.
She is good. She's and she's
Green's good too, but she just got it right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Mhm.
So
Anna Berkeley's 13, and she also loves that time with her daddy, and he's always
she
said
plays up to me. I know she does.
he's always saying, listen, there's men that will show a gun to a gentleman when he comes to pick up his daughter for a date. He said, I'm not going to need to show him the gun. My daughter's going to know how to take care of herself.
Right.
And so protect herself. That's his goal. And
Dad
so,
won't always be around, so know how to use one.
yeah. So he's taught us all early.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bother us. Don't get too close to our house.
Just call before you come. Don't show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Call.
I say that, but our house is like Grand Central Station all the time. Just people coming in and out. Just people we know and love, but not.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's great.
We do. But that is also why we have to get out of town to go on a
We have to
date.
go out of town.
Yeah, we have to check out a little bit. But we do love having everybody's
Turn it off
friends
every once in a
over and, the house between school and practice in the evenings and stuff. That's what we built it for. That's what it's for. A home is for nothing but to make memories. That's what it's about. So, but thank you, though, for being understanding like that and so good. You're so good to all of us. I say that Anna Berkeley's got it rough because she's got to find someone that's as good as her dad one day.
Well, Green's got your example too as a wife, so that's gonna be tough.
We tell him all the
Not
time.
gonna happen
We're like, you gotta
very easily.
got to work on it, guys. It's what you put into it. So
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you've got the right one. And then when you find the right one, you better latch on. Let them know how important they are to you always. Don't take it for granted.
I did pretty good. I mean,
You got any advice for anybody?
any advice?
If you were starting off dating?
If you're starting off dating and you find a really good one that you think, hey, this might be the one, then work at it. Just, I mean, I don't understand the view of just, just dating around just to date around. We talked about it in Vacation Bible School this week. The kids in our class. I don't know how we even got off on the subject. We get off on tangents all the time. It was important talking about
speaker a couple nights in the teenage class,
right? And talking about finding a spouse and who you date, and I told them after a couple of weeks, if you've been talking to somebody or dating somebody, if you can't see yourself marrying that person, then don't waste your time. That's valuable time that you're wasting, dating that person. And you don't want to end up in a situation where that's who you're with and you never really could see yourself with that person. So
right?
Don't do that.
My parents
for that one that And I knew early.
I did.
Mean, you can ask my friends back in high school. I didn't even, I wasn't looking at anybody else. I was never thinking, hey, what about this one? When I got you, that was it.
And my parents always said to my brother and I, you cannot date anyone that's not marriage material. Because you're just opening yourself up for a heartbreak. You only let yourself talk to someone that you think is the right person for you. Don't get yourself in that kind of predicament. Mm-hmm. But they had a lot of rules that really did help me and sway. You never entertain. That's one we've kept with our kids. You do not entertain in the bedroom.
Well, no.
And the kids are not allowed to. So many people have their own little places. We don't. Kids can't have their boyfriend or girlfriend over if we're not there with them. Just different things like that. I don't have the answers. I wish I knew.
That's common sense stuff. That's not a rule. That's just how it is. That's just
how it is in our house. Be. Right.
But I remember how I was at that age. So no.
No, you were
that's not happening.
You were my biggest temptation. I say all the time. I was never the party girl. You would have never heard me say a curse word. And I'm going to be completely honest. I usually was carrying my Bible, walking to classes my junior and senior year too, as much as I was my school books. So that my temptation, the devil knew where to get me, and it was you. I was in love early, and I knew I wanted to be married early.
You're still my temptation.
So that's all right. I can be now.
Still talk me into anything. I'll be like, no, we do not need a new vehicle. This is not the right time. Yeah, and then she does her magic tricks and her seduction, and I'm just like, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do this.
What is that? Winking at you at the dealership?
It's the touch, and that she's very touchy-feely, and she's very, her hair looks good that day. She might wear it curly that day. That just gets me. I can't say no to the curly hair, and I love to be touched, and so she's rubbing me and tickling my beard, and I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. This is not a good idea, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it happen because that's what I do, and it's every time. I don't even know why I argue anymore. I'm to the point where I just say, okay, I'll do it.
You don't argue.
Whatever. But if I need something or want something, you're just like, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love it. So.
We try to make each other's dreams come true.
Yep.
Always. But I love you. Thanks for getting on here.
Of course.
More to come.
Yeah.
More to share with y'all. Y'all wanted to know how we met and started dating, so there you go. We've got more stories to share with y'all. We cannot wait to share our adoption story with you all too. We love our adoption story, and it was a good one. So we look forward to sharing that with y'all in a future podcast as well.
Thanks a lot.